Has anybody felt small before? Like feeling inferior, feeling like someone just overshadows you. It could be a sibling, it could be a parent, it could be a peer, right? You just feel very, very small. Or maybe you were a big fish in a tiny pond, but now you're in a new pond and it's much bigger with other fish, and now you're feeling a little bit nervous. This happens with students who transition to high school or transition to university and college or in the workplace. We get a lot of this. I feel like an imposter, right? I feel less than. And it's not uncommon. So Adler talks a lot about this, the inferiority complex. And he talks about this specifically in terms of birth order. So for instance, we have sibling one, right? So we have the firstborn, and then we have the secondborn. And when the second is born, this individual can have an inferiority complex, right? Feeling less than the older sibling. So for instance, if the older sibling is academically inclined and, just without any effort does very well, but then sibling number two is struggling. And it takes a lot to earn that B or A on that quiz. And now that individual is feeling less than. If you can relate to this, if you have felt like this before, especially if this accumulates over time and then you're going into the workforce and now you feel less than or you feel like an imposter. So if this is the case, then it's going to be really hard for you. So if this is the case, it's going to be really hard for you to see if you can actually reach your potential because you're constantly in a state of panic. You're in a state of worry. Am I living up to somebody else's expectations? Am I living up to my own expectations? My mother, my father compare me and my siblings, and it's overwhelming. So if you're in a position of constantly feeling inferior, check in with yourself. Is this actually the case? Is it actually the case that you are less than? Chances are it's not. Why? Is because we will always find ourselves in the middle. Say for instance, you're in a room with 20 other people and we're talking about a particular skill. Maybe it's your particular skill with makeup or woodwork or whatever the case may be. There are going to be people who are exceptional at that skill. And then there are people that don't have that skill at all. And majority of us are going to fall in the middle, right? So usually when we're interacting with other people, we will find ourselves in the middle. So we're not less than and we're not more than, because majority of us are in that normal distribution. And even if, say for instance, I do want to really hone in my cooking skills. I really want to learn how to cook, and I don't have that skill for the life of me. I chose this example because I cannot cook for the life of me. Thank goodness I have a husband who knows how to do that part. But that's not a skill that I have. But I do try. I try to gain that skill. I try to perfect that skill as best as I can. Making scrambled eggs, I think, is the extent of my gourmet skills. But I don't feel bad for myself. And you shouldn't feel bad for yourself either, just because you can't do something. And if there is something that you want to do that you can't do right now, then persevere. Keep practicing, keep doing it. Do it over 100 hours, thousands of hours. Really perfect that skill if that's what you want. And sometimes things just don't go our way. Sometimes we don't have certain things. It's not natural for us. But if we really want to learn how to cook and we really want to know the classic French way of cooking, well then by all means do what you need to do in order to really gain that skill. Nothing is stopping you, right? Your mind stops you, and your mind self-sabotages, puts you in a position of feeling as though you are less than other people, or you are less than this particular individual that you are comparing yourself to, or someone else is comparing you to. You don't have to listen. You can, in a sense, fake it till you make it. You can act in such a way as to feel that you know how to cook and prepare your ingredients like you know how to cook, even if the dish comes out crappy and it tastes horrible. Maybe that's the first time. The 30th time or the 100th time or the 1000th time that you do it, it will taste delicious. It's all about commitment. It's all about understanding oneself. And it's all about facing one's fear and doing it anyway. There are so many things that worry me, or I create barriers in my mind and I'll just break through them because it's a fantasy in my mind that something is going to happen. And if something does happen, well, then you know what? I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. It's not as scary because I have faith in myself. The more that you have faith in yourself, and the more that you have knowledge, and the more that you gain experience over time, that imposter syndrome and that inferiority will decrease. So if you're having a really hard time with this piece, then reach out to the Mind People, reach out to my team, and we can support you. Schedule a consultation and start planning your ideal life. It is very possible for you to reach that goal. Let us help you.